1 week before the wedding, my fiancé said he wanted to have a child with his first love. Sure, I replied. My fiancé was stunned, not expecting me to agree. It's just IVF, I understand. I smiled. After all, I chose him initially only because of his genes. Now it seems better to forget it, a fool can't be the father of my child. After returning home, I posted on Moments, seeking child with high reward, apply online, those with poor intellect need not apply. The notification sounds exploded almost instantly after clicking send. A private message popped up. The note was, Ethan. Ethan, my junior by 2 years, was said to have gone abroad for further studies after graduation, and our contact gradually decreased. He sent a dog peeking.jpg emoji, followed by a line, Senior, is your Moments post for real? Dog shocked spinning.gif. I was amused and replied with 2 words, yes. The chat box immediately showed the other party is typing. And it lasted for a full 10 seconds. Then, a file was transferred. I opened it. It was an extremely detailed electronic medical examination report. Complete blood count, full biochemistry panel, genetic disease screening, sperm motility analysis. Behind the dense data, almost all were pleasing green markers and conclusions of excellent/normal. Following that was the second file, a PhD degree certificate from an Ivy League university, majoring in cutting-edge synthetic biology. The third was a photocopy of a certificate with an anti-counterfeiting query code, International High IQ Society membership proof. My eyebrows slightly raised. Finally, there was a photo. It seemed to be taken right after exercising, in the gym. Sweat slid down clearly defined muscle lines, the skin a healthy honey color, full of youthful, vigorous vitality. Ethan's message popped up again, this time a voice note. His voice came through the receiver, Senior, do you think my qualifications meet the requirements? I think I can be the father of your child. I looked at the message with interest. How had I not noticed his feelings for me before? I typed a few words, then shall we meet tomorrow? Almost the second after the message was sent successfully, the chat interface popped up with a new reply, yes. Dog obediently sitting and waiting.jpg. I had just put away my phone when Jason came in. Grace, who are you chatting with? His expression seemed a bit tense. So he also knew that telling his fiancée he wanted to have a child with another woman was shameful. I ignored him. Grace, Jason, seeing I wasn't speaking, didn't take it seriously and continued. Regarding the wedding, I've thought carefully. Lily's situation is indeed special right now, so I want to postpone the wedding for a while. Wait until things stabilize on Lily's side. After the child is born, then we can wholeheartedly prepare the most perfect wedding, okay? He looked at me with affectionate eyes. I know this is sudden, but this is the responsible way for both of us. You'll understand me, right, Grace? I listened quietly, sneering inwardly. Sure. I said the same words again, in a flat tone. He visibly relaxed, his smile deepened, and he stepped forward wanting to embrace my shoulder. I knew it, my Grace is the most reasonable. I slightly turned sideways, avoiding his hand. Postponing the wedding, no problem. I looked at him and continued slowly, however, since we have to wait so long, why not just cancel it altogether? The smile on his face froze instantly, followed by a flash of impatience. Grace, don't say angry words. I promise, once Lily's matter is settled, I'll compensate you doubly. Didn't you always want to go to Iceland to see the Northern Lights? We'll go then, okay? Jason, I avoided his hand. Do I look like I'm throwing a tantrum? Jason's face completely darkened. Grace, don't make a fuss here. This matter is settled. Once Lily gives birth to the child, we'll hold the wedding. His phone suddenly rang once. No need to think to know who it was. Jason gave me a last look, his eyes carrying a warning, then turned and left without looking back. I frowned. How had I not noticed before that he was such a fool? The phone screen lit up. Ethan sent a restaurant location and a sentence. Senior, is 3 p.m. tomorrow convenient here? Dog expectant starry eyes.jpg. I looked at that lively avatar and replied, okay, see you on time. In the morning, I opened my eyes, my body retaining clear memories from last night. A strong arm lay across my waist, belonging to Ethan. "Senior, sleep a bit more." His voice, heavy with sleep, sounded behind my ear. "No, I have things to do today." Ethan also propped himself up. "What's so urgent?" "I'll take you." Moving. I picked up the clothes scattered on the floor and put them on. "Moving out from that scumbag's place, can't keep staying in a hotel." He was stunned for a moment, then his eyes lit up. "I'll help you." "No need." I interrupted him. "Don't worry, I'll give you your status." Half an hour later, I returned to the apartment with Jason. Pushing open the door, the air was filled with a cold, uninhabited atmosphere. This week, I worked during the day and spent nights with Ethan, hardly coming back at all. I started packing my luggage. My movements were efficient and targeted. I only took what belonged to me: clothes, books, work materials, some personal collections. As for those couple's mugs, the ornaments we bought together, even the photos hanging on the wall, I didn't blink an eye, leaving them all in place. Just as I was packing the last few coats into the box, the sound of a key turning came from the door. Jason was back. He looked somewhat tired, his suit jacket casually draped over his arm, tie loosened. Seeing me, especially the several open suitcases in the center of the living room, he was clearly stunned. He approached, placing a paper bag he was carrying on the coffee table. "You're back? I brought you chestnut cake from that old shop in the south of the city. I queued for quite a while." I glanced at the bag of still steaming chestnut cake, said nothing, and continued zipping up the suitcase. My silence seemed like grievance in his eyes. Jason sighed and walked to my side. "Grace, still not over your anger?" "I know postponing the wedding is my fault, but these days I've been so busy at the hospital without touching the ground, and Lily's condition has been fluctuating. See, as soon as I had time, I hurried back to accompany you, right?" He reached out to touch my shoulder but I sidestepped to avoid it. "Chestnut cake," I finally spoke, my voice without warmth. "I'm allergic, don't you know?" I reached out to take it and threw it directly into the trash bin in front of him. Jason's hand froze in midair, his facial expression instantly becoming somewhat ugly. He indeed didn't know, or had never remembered. "Grace, do you have to be like this? I've been tired all day, kindly brought you a snack. If you don't appreciate it, fine, but this attitude?" "Yes, I might have remembered your taste wrong, but do you have to get so angry?" I ignored him, bending down to close the lid of another box. His patience seemed exhausted, his tone carrying impatience. "All right, stop packing. I'm tired, go make me some soup, whatever words, say them later." This time I stopped my actions. "Jason," I clearly uttered 3 words, "if you want soup, let your Lily sister who needs you to take responsibility make it." His face completely darkened, as if covered with a layer of frost. "What do you mean?" "Sarcasm for whom? Lily and I are innocent, just helping her with IVF. Why are you so petty, thinking things so dirty?" "I'm petty? I'm dirty?" I repeated his words, finally couldn't help laughing out loud. "Jason, when you righteously demand your fiancé to accept you having a child with someone else, when you can't even remember her allergies, when you take it for granted to order her around like a nanny, have you ever thought about who is really dirtier?" I pointed at those suitcases, my voice firm. "I'm moving out, I've made it clear to you, our wedding is cancelled." "Grace!" Jason suddenly raised his volume. "Have you made enough fuss? Just because of this, you want to cancel the engagement? Do you know the invitations have been sent out? How do I explain to the family? How can you be so selfish?" "Selfish?" I zipped up the last suitcase. "That's indeed not as generous as you. Like a duck, anyone can use you." As soon as my words fell, Jason's face turned ashen instantly, veins bulging on his forehead. "Grace! You're simply unreasonable." His hand pointing at me was trembling, voice squeezed through his teeth. "When did you become so vulgar, so vicious?" I couldn't be bothered to waste more words with him, pulling the suitcase, walking towards the door without looking back. He roared furiously behind me, "Stop right there, if you dare walk out this door today, don't regret it later. Responding to him was the loud bang of the door being slammed shut. I settled down in my new place. Jason seemed furious with me, not speaking to me for a whole month, not even sending a message. I was just happy to have peace. His first love often posted on moments, visible only to me. I wasn't interested in their lovey-dovey daily life, until she posted, "Want to get married, Jason brother says he'll wait for me forever." I was stunned. Not because of the scumbag's words, but because I remembered I should give the puppy brother a status. As said, done, the next day I dragged him to get the marriage certificate. With the red marriage certificate in hand, Ethan stared at it for a long time. He looked at me, his eyes astonishingly bright, and said solemnly, "Senior, I'll be good to you." At the same time, my phone became Lily's exclusive showground. She was no longer satisfied with posting on moments but sent directly to my WeChat. Sometimes it was Jason accompanying her shopping in a maternity store, his profile focused on some baby clothing. Caption: Jason bro says to look in advance, he's even more anxious than me. Sometimes it was Jason's car parked downstairs her home. Caption: sending me back so late specially, afraid I'm not safe, Jason bro is really so considerate. I just wanted to laugh seeing it. Time passed quietly, and in the blink of an eye, another month went by. Jason started to panic a bit. "How long are you going to make a fuss? I know what you said was in anger, come back, I won't hold against those nonsense words you said that day. Grace, my patience is limited, if you don't show up again, the wedding will really be cancelled, don't regret it then." I didn't want to bother at all, because I was pregnant. Unfortunately, good things don't come in pairs. As soon as I went out, I ran into Jason and Lily. Seeing me, Lily's eyes lit up instantly. "Sister Grace? What a coincidence. Are you shopping too?" Jason bro insisted on dragging me out for some fresh air, saying staying cooped up at home is bad for the body. Actually, I think resting at home is fine, don't want to waste too much of his time. Jason also saw me, he was first stunned, his gaze lingered complexly on my face for a moment, brows furrowed tighter, seeming to want to say something, but his lips moved, ultimately just looking at Lily. Lily continued, "Sister Grace, I heard from Jason bro that you're in a cold war with him, he's already very tired, can you be understanding of him?" As soon as her words fell, Jason's face flashed a trace of guilt and reluctance, his gaze towards me added some fatigue and faint reproach, as if I was really unreasonable. I felt a bit nauseous. But I didn't plan to wrong myself. I walked over step by step, standing in front of her. I raised my hand and crisply gave Lily a slap. The paw sound was crisp, particularly piercing in the bustling mall. Lily staggered from the hit. "Why did you hit me?" "Jason bro, I'm dizzy." Jason was also completely angry, pulling me away with one hand, almost half holding the swaying Lily, roaring angrily at me in a low voice. "Grace, don't you know Lily's physical condition? She's a patient. I've told you, the one I love in my heart has always been you, it's just that Lily's situation is special now, why do you have to make things so ugly?" I was so angry I laughed. I looked at Jason, word by word, clearly saying, "Jason, has your brain been infected by her too? Do I need to remind you? We've long broken off the engagement, what identity are you using now to yell at me here? Ex-fiancé?" I couldn't be bothered to look at his face anymore, turned and walked away. Jason behind me was so angry his voice changed tone. "Grace, stop right there." I didn't turn back, heading straight to the elevator. The phone rang soon, Jason's name jumping on the screen. I pressed mute, letting it ring non-stop. Back at the new home, there were over a dozen missed calls on the phone, all from Jason. The last was a long voice message. Opening it, it was his voice suppressing anger. "Grace, let's talk, I know you're angry inside, but hitting people is wrong. You know her health is poor. Come back, stop fussing, the wedding can still be discussed." The tone shifted stiffly from accusation to helpless coaxing. I directly replied 2 words, "No need." The other side immediately showed typing, but after several minutes, sent, "You have to be so nitpicky?" "Fine, as you wish." After that, complete silence. Finally peaceful. I took a weekend to go home and explained everything to my parents from beginning to end. Hearing that Jason actually proposed IVF with someone else and postponing the wedding, my dad was so angry his face turned ashen, my mom was heartbroken and wiped tears non-stop. They originally had a good impression of Jason, now only disappointment and anger remained. Good break. This kind of unclear man isn't worth my daughter entrusting her life to. With family support, the last bit of dust in my heart settled. Days passed peacefully for a month. Lily sent me another WeChat, a photo of a pregnancy test stick, words revealing unconcealed triumph. Sister Grace, I'm pregnant. Jason Bro says this is the best gift from heaven to us. Looking at the message, I touched my already obviously protruding belly and couldn't help smiling. It seems Jason's gene quality is indeed not great. I'm already showing, and he's just hit the jackpot. That same afternoon, Ethan specially took leave to accompany me to the hospital for prenatal checkup. He carefully supported me, registered, queued, busied himself around. When it was my turn for the ultrasound, he kissed my forehead at the examination room door. Senior, don't be nervous, I'll wait outside. The checkup went smoothly. When I came out, Ethan went to the doctor's office to get the detailed report. I sat on the corridor bench resting, gently stroking my belly, feeling the little one's occasional movements inside. At that moment, a familiar pair appeared at the end of the corridor. Jason carefully supported Lily, Lily's belly still not showing. But she almost entirely leaned on Jason, looking fragile as if unable to withstand wind. They were also here for prenatal checkup. Jason looked up, his gaze swept over me, first stunned. Then, his sight fixed deadly on my protruding abdomen. He suddenly flung Lily's hand away, rushed to me in a few strides, his finger trembling pointing at my belly. Grace, you actually got pregnant with someone else's bastard. Jason's roar echoed in the hospital corridor, attracting looks from surrounding people. His eyes bloodshot, chest heaving violently, as if suffering great insult and stimulation. Whose child? Grace, tell me, whose bastard is this? He approached a step, voice distorted from extreme anger. He stared deadly at my belly, eyes full of disbelief and absurd doubt. Suddenly, as if thinking of something, his tone became sharp. Or is this belly fake at all? Deliberately stuffing a pillow to act for me? Saying that, he actually reached out wanting to press on my belly, seeming to verify if it was real or fake. My eyes turned cold, just about to retreat and avoid, a figure swiftly blocked in front of me, firmly grabbing Jason's extended wrist. It was Ethan. He came back after getting the report, just in time to see this scene. Mr. Jason, please show some respect. Ethan's voice wasn't loud, but carried undeniable force. My wife, and my child, are not for you to touch. Yours? Jason seemed to hear the biggest joke, sneering loudly. Ethan? You? Grace, who else would you find but such a greenhorn to act? You think I'll believe it? This must be a setup to provoke me, right? He fundamentally unwilling to believe the facts before him, stubbornly thinking this was my way to retaliate against him. Ethan didn't waste more words with him. When Jason tried to break free again and spew malicious words, Ethan unhesitatingly swung a punch, smashing hard on his cheek. Jason caught off guard, staggered, and hit the wall from the punch. His mouth corner broke instantly, seeping blood. He covered his face, looking at Ethan in disbelief. Jason Bro. Lily screamed, pounced over, tears surging instantly. She supported Jason, turned and cried at us, how can you hit people? Jason Bro is just too sad. Sister Grace, you're too much. How can you hurt Jason Bro like this? Jason subconsciously held Lily, patted her back to soothe. Lily, don't be afraid, I'm fine. But his gaze still locked deadly on me, especially my belly. When his sight swept over Ethan's subconscious hand protecting in front of my belly, he panicked. That wasn't a pillow. Grace was really pregnant. And the child wasn't his. After anger faded, huge panic and regret swept over him. He looked at me, eyes unwilling. Grace. He pushed Lily away, trying to approach me, voice with a tremble. I was wrong, I was too agitated earlier. Are you angry with me, deliberately like this? Can we talk properly? You can't do this to me. Jason, I interrupted him, do I need to remind you? There's no relationship between us anymore, now. I and my legal husband, pregnant with our expected child, coming for prenatal checkup, any problem? Husband. She actually already got the certificate. I held Ethan's arm, clearly uttering each word. As for talking? Between us, there's long been nothing to say. Ethan embraced my shoulder, coldly glanced at Jason, that look full of warning and possessiveness. Let's go, Senior, the doctor said to keep a pleasant mood. He said to me in a low voice, tone instantly restoring gentleness. I nodded, no longer looking at the pair frozen in place, letting Ethan protect me, turned and left. Grace, Grace! Don't go! Jason shouted urgently behind me, wanting to chase. But at that moment, Lily let out a more shrill sob, body softly sliding to the ground. Jason bro, my belly hurts so much. Jason's steps suddenly stopped. He turned back looking at pale-faced Lily, face full of struggle and pain. Ultimately, he gritted his teeth, bent to pick up Lily, running towards the emergency room. Just before leaving, that unwilling, regretful look still stabbed my back like a needle. Ethan protected me, steadily walking to the parking lot. Only after sitting in the car did he relax, turning sideways to look at me carefully. Senior, are you okay? Were you scared? Want some water? The concern in his tone almost overflowed. He reached to take the thermos from the back seat, unscrewed the cap and handed it to me. I took the cup, sipped some warm water, shook my head. My gaze involuntarily fell on the hand he used to hit Jason earlier, knuckles slightly red. I reached out to touch gently. Does your hand hurt? Ethan was stunned for a moment, then gentle smile rippled in his eyes. He turned his hand to hold mine in his palm. Doesn't hurt, punching him feels more refreshing than when I pulled an all-nighter in the lab to complete a set of key data back then. He paused, voice lowered a bit, with a trace of caution. Senior, do you think I was too impulsive? Starting a fight in a place like the hospital? I shook my head, tone affirmative. No, he deserved it, and, I paused, meeting his gaze, the way you protected me and the baby, very handsome. Ethan's ear tips reddened at a visible speed. Back home, Ethan immediately tied on an apron and went into the kitchen. During dinner, we tacitly didn't mention the hospital matter again. Ethan carefully picked out fish bones for me, served soup, topics revolved around the doctor's notes from the checkup, and what the baby might look like in the next ultrasound. Watching his animated expression, I suddenly felt a bit dazed. In those years with Jason, there seemed never to have been such relaxed, full of everyday warmth and anticipation moments. Ethan, I put down my chopsticks, said softly, thank you. Ethan was serving me food, upon hearing paused his action, looked up at me. Thank me for what? Thank you for appearing. I looked into his eyes, said seriously, and thank you for, not minding. I meant my well-known past with Jason, and today's ugly farce. Ethan put down his chopsticks, reached over, gently held my hand. Senior, he called, then shook his head, smiled. No, now I should call you wife. Wife, past things are just past. As for today's matter, the fault isn't yours. I only feel heartache that you once misjudged. How could I mind? Moreover, he suddenly blinked slyly, with a bit of small pride. Now you're my legally certified spouse, the child is also mine, I'm the biggest winner, what's there to mind? It should be Jason jealous of me. I was amused by his expression, the last bit of haze in my heart dissipated. In the evening, the setting sun laid a warm golden layer on the living room. I was nestled on the sofa flipping through parenting books, Ethan in the study handling work emails. The doorbell suddenly rang. Ethan stood up. I'll go see. I nodded, didn't move. Through the video doorbell screen, sure enough saw Jason's dejected face. His hair somewhat messy, mouth corner still with obvious bruise. Ethan opened the door, but had no intention of letting him in, his tall figure blocking the doorway. Where's Grace? I want to see her. Jason's voice hoarse, with a stubbornness. My wife doesn't want to see you. Ethan's tone cold and distant. Wife. Jason seemed stung by this word, suddenly looked up, with a condescending scrutiny and disdain. Ethan, what are you? Do you deserve her? Do you know what she likes and dislikes? Do you understand her past? You're just a tool she uses to anger me. He got more agitated as he spoke, trying to push Ethan aside to barge in. Ethan didn't budge, just his eyes turned colder. Mr. Jason, please watch your words. Ethan's voice still calm, whether I deserve or not, it's not up to you. As for my identity. He slightly turned, took a gold-embossed business card casually placed before on the entry cabinet inside the door, handed it to Jason, tone flat. Perhaps, you can go back and ask your father, the cooperation project with shows that he's been pursuing recently, why it was unilaterally indefinitely shelved by the investor last week. Jason's pupils shrank sharply, looked at the business card in disbelief. He originally thought Ethan's Zhou was just a common surname, but he was actually from the Zhou family. Jason's face instantly became pale, the earlier arrogance completely gone. His family's enterprise was considered prominent locally, but not on the same level as Zhou's. Only then did he realize how ridiculous and superficial his previous judgment of Ethan as pretty boy, Greenhorn was. Now, Ethan retracted the card, tone still without fluctuation. Can you please leave? You're disturbing my wife's rest. Jason stiffened in place, lips trembling, but couldn't say a word. The huge identity gap and reality blow made him unable to digest for a moment. But he was still unwilling. He looked over Ethan's shoulder, shouting hoarsely into the house, Grace, are you so heartless? Our years of relationship, you say let go and let go? Yes, I did wrong, but it was just a moment of confusion. The one I love in my heart is always you. Can't you give me a chance to reform? I finally put down the book, slowly walked to the door, stood beside Ethan, calmly looking at the madly appearing Jason. Jason, you still don't understand? My voice was light, yet pierced his heart like an ice awl. I never loved you that much. He suddenly froze, as if paused. I continued, initially choosing you, just thought your genes were decent, IQ and appearance above average, fitting my grandfather's will's preferred standards for the heir. What I need is just a child with premium genes, to legitimately inherit that fortune. As for who the child's father is, it doesn't matter, you just happened to appear at that time point, and seemed the most suitable. These words were half true half false. Grandfather indeed had a will concerning a huge fortune, with implicit requirements for the heir's quality, but this wasn't the entire reason I initially chose Jason. However, at this moment, using this reason to thoroughly shatter his ridiculous self-esteem and fantasies was most appropriate. The color drained from Jason's face instantly, he staggered back a step. Impossible, you're lying to me. Grace, you must be lying. How could you? Believe it or not, up to you. I interrupted him, held Ethan's arm. Now, I've found someone more excellent, who loves me more. So, please don't appear in front of us again. After saying that, I no longer looked at his collapsed, distorted expression, said softly to Ethan, close the door. Ethan nodded, unhesitatingly closed the door. The instant the door closed, I heard a suppressed sob from outside. The world was finally quiet. I relaxed, turned around, but met Ethan's astonishingly bright eyes. Where was the coldness on his face when facing Jason earlier, now full of irrepressible excitement? Wife. He hugged me up, carefully avoiding the belly, spun in place, voice jubilant. You said I'm more excellent earlier, is it true? Do you really think so? I was amused by his childish action, patted his shoulder to let me down. Of course it's true, otherwise why would I choose you? He gently put me down, but still circled my waist, lowered head to rub my forehead with his nose tip, tone with thick expectation and a trace of caution. Then, wife, when shall we hold the wedding? Can't let the child be born without parents having a proper wedding, right? Looking at his puppy-like expectant eyes, my heart softened. Actually, after getting the certificate, I've been considering this. Originally thought holding a wedding while pregnant was troublesome, but now, looking at this man before me full of me and the baby, I suddenly felt a wedding was so necessary and worth looking forward to. I looked at him, smiled slightly, gave the answer he'd long awaited. Next month, pick a day with good weather. Ethan was stunned. A full few seconds passed, huge surprise exploded on his face. Really? Senior, wife. You agreed, you really agreed. Great, I'll start preparing right away, must give you the most perfect wedding. Watching his ecstatic appearance, I suddenly remembered something, said softly, actually, no need to be so excited. The moment I discovered I was pregnant and decided to keep the baby, I already took you to meet my parents. Ethan's body suddenly stiffened, slowly released me, lowered head looking at me, eyes full of disbelief. When? How don't I know? I smiled, raised hand to smooth his slightly wrinkled collar from excitement. It was that time, I said to take you to eat at a very authentic private kitchen. After dinner, my dad had you play 2 games of chess with him, my mom pulled you to ask about your living habits abroad for half a day. Ethan was completely stunned. He recalled that seemingly ordinary family banquet. At the time he only thought it was a normal gathering for girlfriend to bring him to meet parents, though nervous, didn't notice anything unusual. So, I looked at his shocked appearance, tone gentle and affirmative. Mom and Dad approved of you long ago. They know all about you, and support my choice. Otherwise, why do you think I got the certificate with you so quickly? Ethan's eyes rimmed red instantly. He suddenly embraced me. Wife, thank you. Thank you and the baby for choosing me. I hugged him back, feeling the solid heartbeat from his chest, my heart filled with unprecedented steadiness and happiness. 1 month later, I wore the wedding dress Ethan specially had a French designer customize. At the wedding, pure white flower arches, long red carpet, guests entered one after another, faces brimming with blessing smiles. Everything was as dreamed, except. He won't really dare to come, right? Best friend and bridesmaid Amy helped arrange my veil, whispered, eyes revealing worry. Since then, Jason never appeared before me again. But news about him sporadically floated into my ears. Heard he was grounded at home by Richard, heard he and Lily quarreled several times, heard the Gu family suffered considerable losses because the cooperation with Joe's fell through, now in a mess. In today's occasion, as long as he has a bit of reason, he won't come. I said calmly, fingers gently stroking the slightly protruding belly. The baby was almost 5 months, fetal movements increasingly obvious, each time reminding me of the joy and responsibility brought by new life. As for Jason, already an irrelevant past. However, just as the wedding march was about to start, father holding my hand, preparing to step on the red carpet, a commotion came from the banquet hall entrance. Jason still came after all. He looked haggard, with heavy dark circles under eyes full of red bloodshots and a nearly paranoid madness. He rushed in regardless, but was stopped by bodyguards. Grace, Grace! He shouted hoarsely through the crowd, voice raspy and broken, you can't marry him, I don't agree, I was wrong, I know I was outrageously wrong. Give me another chance. The scene was chaotic for a moment, guests turned heads, whispered. My father frowned tightly, gripped my hand tighter. Ethan stood beside the priest at the end of the red carpet, face darkened, but he didn't move, just gave me a soothing look, then whispered an instruction to the assistant beside him. The assistant nodded, quickly walked to the commotion. Jason, look what place this is. Jason's father, Richard with ashen face stood up from the guest seats, walked over in a few steps, suppressed voice scolding. Not embarrassed enough? Get back. Dad, I can't let her marry someone else. Jason struggled, eyes locked deadly on me. I love her. You love her? Loving her is being entangled with another woman while engaged? Richard was so angry his hand shook, but considering the occasion, could only suppress anger. Look what you look like now. You've lost all face for the Gu family. Just as the stalemate continued, a frail figure staggered appearing at the entrance. It was Lily. She still wore loose skirt, face pale, tears falling like broken beads. Jason bro, don't be like this. She sobbed, voice not loud, but enough for surroundings to hear clearly. I beg you, let's go back. Doctor said I can't be too emotional, bad for the child, this is your flesh and blood. While saying, she stroked her belly, body swaying, as if about to faint next moment. This posture immediately drew some sympathy and whispers. Jason saw her, the madness in eyes struggled a bit. Lily, what are you doing here? Go back. Jason's tone irritated. Jason bro, I'm worried about you. Lily cried harder, even starting to pant slightly. My belly is a bit uncomfortable, let's go back, okay? Just accompany me to quietly pass my last days. She brought out Last Wish again. This seemed Lily's most effective weapon against Jason. Sure enough, struggle on Jason's face intensified, fists clenched cracking, looked towards me full of pain and reluctance, but feet nailed in place. Richard took the chance to signal bodyguards. 2 bodyguards immediately stepped forward, one left one right held Jason. Mr. Jason, please leave, don't disturb Mr. Zhou and Mrs. Zhou's wedding. Ethan's assistant also stepped forward, said politely but firmly. Jason was half-forced dragged out, he stared deadly at me, mouth still unwillingly growling low. Lily wiped tears, followed closely behind him. Before leaving, didn't forget to look back at me, that look had resentment, jealousy, and a trace of hard-to-detect triumph. This farce finally ended. Guest seats restored calm, just the atmosphere inevitably a bit subtle. Father looked at me worriedly, I smiled slightly at him, shook head, indicating I'm fine. Ethan strode from the red carpet end, held my hand, his palm warm and strong. Don't let irrelevant people disturb our good day. He said low in my ear, then looked at the present guests, said loudly, a small interlude, made everyone laugh. Wedding continues. Music restarted, applause also heated up again. Accompanied by father, under Ethan's affectionate gaze, I step by step, firmly walked towards my new life. The wedding proceeded warmly and perfectly. Post-wedding life was calm and happy. Ethan almost turned down all unnecessary work socials, using most time to accompany me. We together picked baby clothes, decorated the nursery, discussed names, every prenatal checkup he must attend, carefully recording every doctor's instruction. He cared for me meticulously, yet never treated me as fragile porcelain, respected all my ideas and decisions. I've never so truly felt what it's like to be wholeheartedly loved and cherished by someone. About Jason and Lily's news, I rarely inquired actively. But Amy, this gossip antenna, always couldn't help sharing with me. Heard Lily forced marriage, using the child in belly, Gu family old man seems to have relented, after all that's Gu family bloodline. Amy helped sort baby's small clothes while pursing lips. But Jason adamantly disagrees, the two quarrel earth-shaking, TSK, really dog blood drama. I was watering a pot of potholes, upon hearing didn't stop, as expected. Jason might marry Lily for responsibility, but the hurdle in heart can't pass. Especially when Lily's existence constantly reminds him how he completely lost me because of her. This thorn will always stab in his heart. There's even more extreme. Amy leaned closer, lowered voice, did Ethan send Jason a big gift? About Lily's. I raised my eyebrow, looked at Ethan coming out of kitchen with fruit plate. Ethan placed the plate in front of me, expression indifferent, just felt some people kept in the dark are pitiful, casually had someone check Lily's medical records from those years abroad. She wasn't sick at all, just to gain sympathy, stay by Jason's side, colluded with an irregular private clinic to make fake diagnosis. I suddenly realized. No wonder Lily could so righteously intervene between me and Jason back then. Turns out from beginning to end, it was a carefully planned scam. Sure enough, not 2 days later, more intense news came. After Jason learned the truth, reportedly furious, directly rushed to Lily's place, questioned her, the two erupted in more intense conflict. Jason even wanted to forcibly take Lily to hospital to abort the child, stopped desperately by Gu family who rushed upon hearing. Heard it was ugly, Jason almost hit Lily, slapped by Richard to sober up. Amy recounted with some sigh. But the child was advanced in months, Gu family values heirs, finally under family pressure, the two got the certificate. But no wedding, heard on certificate day, both had dark faces at Civil Affairs Bureau door, like enemies. A resentful couple thus formed. And I just listened calmly, no more ripples in heart. Their love-hate entanglements, for me, already another world story. In late pregnancy, my body burden gradually heavy, but mood always pleasant. Ethan mostly worked from home, caring for me anytime. 1 week before due date, I started regular contractions. Though Ethan rehearsed countless times in advance, when the moment came, still nervous and flustered, almost tripped himself when taking the hospital bag, amusing me to laugh in contraction intervals. Just as he carefully supported me, preparing to go out to hospital, doorbell rang again. Through monitor, saw Jason. He was even thinner and more dejected than last meeting, stubbly beard, standing at door like a lifeless statue. Ethan didn't even frown, directly ignored the doorbell, steadily supported me. Let's go, ignore him. I nodded, contraction came again, I deep breathed, focused all attention on adjusting breath. What Jason, what past grievances, at this moment none as important as my soon-to-be-born baby. We hand in hand, directly left from garage. From beginning to end, gave no attention to the lingering figure outside. Later heard from home aunt, Jason stood outside for a long time, until security came to ask him leave. He didn't know, just as he wandered outside the door, inside the one he once had and pushed away himself, was welcoming a true new birth. The delivery process was smooth. A few hours later, I heard a loud cry. Congratulations, it's a beautiful little princess. The nurse held the cleaned and wrapped baby for me to see. We named her Nina, meaning peaceful and beautiful, also a homophonic combination of my and Ethan's surnames. The full-month banquet was simple and warm, only invited closest family and friends. Nina wore red little clothes, carefully held in Ethan's arms. I looked at her, thinking, this is my only child. As for Jason and Lily, heard after marriage they always lived separately. Jason hardly went home. Lily gave birth to a boy, but it didn't improve their relationship. But these, like faded old paintings seen through frosted glass, could no longer stir half a ripple in my heart. My world, long occupied by Nina and Ethan, and my career. Past matters, like yesterday's death. And my new life, hand in hand with beloved, has just begun, and will continue beautifully forever.